What's up, guys? I wanted to make a video on changes and issues with Diablo 4 that I think are currently in the game that is not being talked about in the campfire chats, and who fucking knows when we're gonna get like any of these things changed, but I think they're big. I have heard people talk about it's not one that's on my list I made, but not being able to zoom out more than this is a big issue, especially for like the range classes, like sorcerer and rogue especially. I think a sorcerer, it's not too bad because of teleport's not like super crazy, but like rogue, when I dash, it feels like I'm shifting over like a whole screen and a half, and it makes me not want to play rogue at all. So the first thing I would say is definitely the screen. We need to be able to zoom out more. I'll just start with that. And my first issue I have on this list here for my notepad is all content is nerfed now, because Blizzard heard the complaints about scaling, and so what they decided to do was, we're going to take the laziest approach to scaling possible, and they just made it so that all open world content is now 5 levels below you, essentially at like higher levels. So now if I go out and I want to like do some events, everything is 5 levels below me, so I'm level 60, these are 55. So I get 50% less experience. And well, this like wasn't really, wasn't the fastest way to level or anything, but like now it's just worse. And a lot of things are just like, it seemed to be getting worse with the changes. Like they're adding in some like changes that make some things better, and then they're just completely ruining other things, like without even like talking about it or like acknowledging it. Like I don't remember seeing the actually, never mind, I do remember seeing the level scaling changes in the patch notes, but I didn't know they were gonna make like World Tier 1 and World Tier 2 like the same level as you the whole way. I actually think that was like a pretty good change. I think that's like a good change for like specifically the seasonal realm. I think Eternal Realm could probably keep the old way, where like certain zones, like for example like down here, could be like 30 to 40 or plus, like 40, 45 in some areas. Experience is just worse now. But don't worry, guys, that was only 2 weeks ago, and in another week we'll be getting some mob density increases to compensate for the experience nerfs. One big issue that I really have with Diablo 4 is it feels like the devs are like actively working against the game and against the player base. So like for example, we'll get like instant turn-offs or instant nerfs to things that are like broken. So for example, there was like 12 hours or maybe even like 8 hours. It was like a small duration where they buffed helltides, and they allowed the chest to give unique items finally, which made people want to do helltides more, and that was awesome. But then some barbarians and sorcerers were getting the Harlequin crest unique from it. So they turned that off within like, I want to say like 8 hours. It might have even been less or more, somewhere around 8 to 12 hours range, I think. They turned that off immediately, and they were like, hey, nobody can get these drops anymore. Well, that's great. Nobody's gotten those drops ever since they turned it off. But well, maybe one person has, because they're that rare. But I'm not super focused on the super rare uniques. I think that's definitely something that needs to be addressed, but I think a great way they could like address the rare uniques is maybe they make like the top end boss or content, whatever it may be, make that have like a really high drop chance. Not like super high, maybe like 5 to like 15% chance of like dropping it when you do it. Dropping like super rare uniques. And then, because they said they don't want people to make builds around the rare uniques. That was like the reasoning for not letting people get them in a consistent way, which sounds really stupid, but that's what they said. So to go against that, if I want to go with their logic, maybe you make the very top end of the game drop that gear. Like, hey, you've already beat the game, you cleared all the content, now if you want to get this item, you can farm it. I think that would be that'd be a way to fix it, but it's probably not the best way, but that's the only thing I could think of right now. Another thing where I feel like the devs are working against us is they'll make like fake reasons for why change can't happen quickly and then prove it's easily doable. So, for example, the Scroll of Amnesia. This is a scroll you get from the Battle Pass, I believe. I was actually looking for it before I started recording. I couldn't find it. Where is it? Well, I thought it was from the... Oh, wait, no, it's from the Season Journey. Here we go. So this contains a Scroll of Amnesia, which refunds all allocated skill points and Paragon points. And so they're trying to come up with a way to do that, but they also want it to cost gold. So why not just add something at any of the vendors or add a vendor specifically for it and make the cost like, I don't know, 10 million gold? What do you want it to be? 15? 5 million? I feel like that's a super easy, quick fix. And then if they want to change it later and they can get their shit together and put a button in, great. Then you can take out that vendor and do it that way with the refund all button. But since you guys don't have that yet, just make Scroll of Amnesia purchasable for a decent amount of gold. I would say like 5 million to 15 million. Maybe it goes up per level. Maybe it starts at like 5 million gold around like level 60 or 70, and then by the time you're 100 it's like 15 million. I think that's doable. Another thing, this is the third on my list, number 3, is there are way too many lazy positive affixes on the nightmare sigils. So I only have 2 sigils in here and they're both super lazy. One increases my thorns by 249. One gives me fire damage. Most builds don't have fire damage in their build and they'll still get this affix. They have like every single element damage increase. They have an overpower damage increase. I think they could do some way funner ones. I think they need to cut out all of the elemental damage increases and maybe just do like different ones. If they cut out all those, maybe they could do like one that makes your dots tick 15% faster. One that makes... I think there might be like a crit chance one. I think that one's fine. The one where you take like 5% less damage per missing health, I think that one's fine. It's not like crazy fun, but it is impactful for like certain builds. So there's like degrees, but like for like that, getting a fire damage boost is doing nothing for like 90% of the specs. Maybe even more than that, because fire sorcerer pretty bad right now. Another issue for number 4, it's another touch on the affixes. There are too many affixes and there are too many bad ones. I think they should just have like one negative affix personally, one positive, one negative. And yeah, there's so many bad ones. They're getting rid of resource burn, which is on this one. Drifting shade is awful. That thing has like a 10-second cooldown. So you just have that thing coming at you every 10 seconds and silencing you, making you move. Super annoying. It's really not... It's not fun. I don't think it's well designed. Poison Enchanted, that one's annoying because they don't know how to do resistances. I actually think the resistance fix is way easier than they're making it seem, but I don't know. I'm not in their code, but I've taken a programming class and I don't know how they built this game in a way that they can't fix resistances like instantly. And then my number 5, the last one that I have on my list, is vulnerable damage is too much of a deciding factor of whether a build can work or not. So for example, sorcerers like have to play Frost Nova, which is actually, I think that's fine for sorcerer. I think sorcerer like Like, it sucks that you have to take it, but it is nice that you can play any of the sorcerer builds, fire, lightning, frost, and you can get vulnerable consistently from that. But for example, if I play necro, I either have to play bone spear because bone spear makes everything vulnerable. You have to run corpse tendrils, which corpse tendrils is just such an amazing skill that necros are probably going to run that regardless of the vulnerable application from it. But outside of corpse tendrils, you either have to run sever or bone splinters. So you either have to run like one of the two bone spells, or you have to run sever. And sever actually used to be pretty bad for getting it too, because it was like every 5 casts originally, you would get vulnerable for 2 seconds. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the main issues I have with the game right now.